Hey there, Prairie Plant Girl here. So today I'm in my backyard and I'm at the back of my patio against the north wall of my house. And I'm going to be planting up these planters. I built this wooden planter and just made a space to set some large kind of window box type planters in a few years ago. And I use this to brighten up this kind of shady area in my yard. So this area here receives morning sun at best, and I have two large ash trees kind of in behind you that even filter that morning sun. So these planters get basically shade, which is just a few hours of sun a day, so about 4 hours or less of sun a day. Now they're not completely shaded because plants don't like to grow in that, but they do receive very little sun. So I still want to have a nice bright, colorful display back here, and I need to choose plants carefully for that. I have two planters here, so the one is kind of hidden by me here. There's two here, and I have them set up basically the same but slightly different. The one thing that's different is one of the planters will have a single pink begonia, and these are just begonias I've grown over the years. I overwinter them, save them, and plant them back up every late winter in my house. So this one is a single pink, and I don't know the exact variety. I don't think I have a tag for it anymore. But you may have seen videos where I was getting my begonias going this year, and this would be one of them. I can't remember if I bought any new tubers or not. I might have. I think I did. I might have had a few new tubers this year. And then this is a double pink. So the flowers are just a little bit showier. And the reason I have two different ones is because I didn't have two matching that I wanted to put in. The only matchers I have are the ballerina or Belliconia cream. I have two of these that I overwintered from last year, but I think I'd like to put those in a hanging basket somewhere because they have kind of a pretty drapey kind of flower, if I remember. They're not flowering right now, but I think that's what they had. Oh, and then I have these two. These are double begonias, and one is red and one is yellow that I've overwintered and started back up, and I just wasn't feeling that color vibe back here, so these will have to go somewhere else. So I have the begonias, and then the other thing that I'm putting in is this Beacon Series White Impatiens, and I grew these from seed. Again, I probably have a video on it. And these are really nice impatient. They're a little more disease resistant than some impatiens, so if you have trouble with things like powdery mildew with your impatiens, this is a better variety to try, is the Beacon Series. And they are a real mounding impatient. They get about 10 to 12 inches tall and about 12 to 14 inches wide, so they really spread out and fill in a space quite well for you, even in the shade. And they're quite bright and cheerful. And one of the great things about impatiens is just a light breeze or you running your hands over them, it's going to deadhead them most of the time. You don't have to worry about going in, and they'll continue blooming even if you haven't deadheaded them. They will continue blooming. I just think knocking those used blooms off makes them look a little nicer. Now these have been pretty tight in trays. I have quite a few of them, so some of them have a less attractive side and a more attractive side, so I'll try and keep that in mind when I'm popping them into the planter. And then the one plant that I purchased is Taurinia. Beautiful little plant, and this one can actually do part shade to sun, I believe. Yeah, oh, sun to shade, so very, very adaptable to any conditions. It prefers a little bit more moisture, but can handle drying out a little bit as well. Just can't get completely dried. And it has these beautiful purple flowers. They're almost like a snapdragon. And they'll really spread and fill and kind of come over the edges of the pots a little bit. So we have that kind of bright, more impactful flower with the begonias, and that'll be kind of our thriller. And then we'll have the impatiens that'll really fill in the space, and these will just kind of spill over the edges, soften the whole planter up, and look really cheery. And they add just that little bit of extra brightness. So as you can see, I've already kind of set them out and decided how, hi Buster, we want the people to see. I set them out and decided how I want them to be set in here. And at first I actually had two more impatiens laid in here, but I decided with how much they spread, I don't really need that. It would look really full to begin with, but it's not necessary. So I will just leave it like this. So I have an impatient on either side of the begonia set to the back. And then I have one at either end, just kind of in the center of the space from front to back. So there's one there and one there. And then I have the Torrenia kind of put to the front. There's two, one on kind of either side, kind of between the begonia and the impatient as far as side to side spacing goes, but to the front of the planter. And then I have one more impatient right at the front between the Torrenia. And that is how both of the planters will be, and I think it'll really fill in and look great like this. So I have my planters filled with fresh soil. I'd used the same soil for many years in here, and it was just time to, it was getting really hard and compacted and just time for something new. So I put some fresh planter soil in. I'm going to spread some slow release fertilizer in just to give them a nice even feed, so if I'm ever away or forget to do a fertilizer, they will still have something in the soil. This lasts for 4 months. And then I will come in and I'll be fertilizing. I try to fertilize my plants outside with a water soluble bloom type fertilizer. Sometimes I just use it like a fish fertilizer. Just kind of depends on what's at the store and what I'm in the mood for when I'm shopping, but a water soluble, and I will water those once a week that way as well. Otherwise, there's drip in these pots, so once I get that turned on at the tap, they will be set up on drip and get some regular watering, and I just keep an eye on them, and as long as the soil is moist but having a moment like it's able to dry out a little bit before it gets watered again but not go completely bone dry, then that is the timing that I use for my pots. Yours will be different depending on how open, how windy, how hot it is in your area, how humid it is. That will all affect how much watering you need to do. So it's just something you need to kind of play around with, keep an eye on, and figure out for your particular situation. So I'm going to just pop these plants off to the side, put a little bit of fertilizer in, and put the plants back in. And then I'll have this beautiful area here all set up and ready to go. So I'm going to start in the middle with the begonia, because that'll kind of give me my placement for everything else. And you can see the nice root system on there. I'll do the impatient. Torrenia will bloom better if you keep them dead-headed. So, and they're really easy. The dead blooms just pop right off, so they're very easy to deadhead. Another impatient in the front, in the middle. Right in front of that begonia. And we'll just match it up on the other side. So you can see how this impatient got a little bit kind of taller. I just picked those that got like that to be what I put at the back. So you won't notice that once they're in the back behind the other plants. And they will fill out a little bit more once they have some room here. You can also go in and just find a spot where they've grown long, and you go down to the next set of leaves, just pinch them off, and they'll bush out more that way. All planted up and looking great. That's going to be a great combination. Pinks, the whites, the purples, beautiful. So now, we just need to get that one planted. So there's a bit of a backed up view. I think that'll look really good. So thanks for coming along with me today while I got these planters planted up. Hopefully they gave you some inspiration if you have a spot that gets a little less sunlight and you're trying to figure out what plants to use there. These would work well in just a round pot as well. So, in your standard like 14-inch kind of pot, you might want to just put like one impatient, one Torrenia, and one begonia. Or if you want something with a little more height, because it's a little bit of a taller pot, you could even put something like a Dracaena will do just well, like a spike plant. It'll do pretty well in the shade, and then you could have that as your center instead of the begonia and have the other two plants. So just play around with those combinations and find something that works for you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.